Greetings there, fellow beavers. Rodamont here. Thank you for tuning in to Timberborn 1.0. Episode 15. The Megadam is done. Alright, so population... This might be like full house now. Almost full house. Higher population than we've had before. Any particular reason why she's been gracing us with her presence? I think it's because I've changed her diet. As weird as it sounds. She was having some tummy troubles, and I started to give her, like, a lot better food. I guess, like, softer foods and pumpkin and stuff like that, and she's, like, sucking up to me for it. Despite realizing that, like, it wasn't because she was giving me more attention. But I think that's what's going on. I don't mind it. Being extra sweet. Okay, extract and dynamite's holding up. Our supply, that is. And, way to the heart, after all? Yes. Basically, way to the heart, through the stomach. And we are absolutely increasing the volume. We've increased the volume so much that the water level in this tank has, like, gone down, like, half a block. Like, that's how much blasting we've done. I'm not worried about running out of water in this bad tide, though, because this bad tide's, like, short. We honestly, we haven't really had any, like, terrible events happen. The longest drought I think we've had was, like, 15 or 16 days, and we've just had a bunch of, like, 10s and 11s so far this stream. So that's why it's like, oh, yeah, whatever. Roll my eyes at it. It's like, if you survive 16 days already and your infrastructure hasn't gotten worse, 10 is, like, not a problem. Can I afford the stream gauge? I could. Stream gauges do have a max depth, though, so they're not, like, particularly helpful in the situation where we have, like, 11 deep water, because they only go up to, like, 4, I think. You're referring to this thing? How are we looking elsewhere? Dirt's pretty good. I'm gonna pause that so we have more haulers and builders. And our population really has increased quite a bit. So now I have 6 haulers. So if we end up with, like... Maybe I start to pivot over to research again? I'll wait until the mega project's done. And then we'll recommit to research. Man, watching these gravity batteries, like, I know I'm not doing a lot of industry right now, but the fact that they're, like, constantly hoisted. Oh, you know, I just realized we have been smelting metals, and, like, we don't have metals. So let's move someone over to the scavenger flag again. Tennering, thank you for the resub. And Sorcerer 7. And Hemikar. I, totally missed that. I apologize. So, for this spot... Well, I'll wait for a second. Oh, and Crafty, thank you for the chair. Just taking a look at their well-being, because it dropped to 10, but I think that was just like they were sleeping and not fulfilling their needs. And not that I lacked anything. So we're almost done with all the dirt retaining walls, meaning that it's nearly time to like blow up the old water pump and then redesign the whole thing, more or less. We'll be getting to that in just a minute, because it's nearly time for that. So, I think temporarily, I'm going to do something weird here to just blast the rest, which is this. This is all 3 deep here, this section. So if I build... Yeah, if I build this with that, I should be able to get the rest of it blown up. Mostly. So that's what I'll do. And then I'll reroute it. Gideon, thank you for the gifted subs. Can I afford a shortened workday today yet? Especially with this short pad tide? I'm not going to make any changes. In fact, I go so far as to say the no backseating tags are on for a reason. I'm not taking feedback for this series. Like, full stop. That has been the case from the first second of the first stream and hasn't changed till now. And if I want feedback, of course, I can pull for it. But that's what the whole, like, no backseating tags are on. And for YouTube viewers, why in the description it is like, yeah, I'm not taking feedback for this. Made it pretty clear. So, like, little reminders of, like, oops, you left that floodgate up is different from the, hey, you should do X, Y, or Z project. And if you aren't able to discern why that is different, then err on the side of, not, I would say. Alright, so we're almost done blasting this out. That is a lot of water. It's just... That's a huge tank. Especially for a population of, like, 41. So... Definitely eager for this to be finished so we can tackle other projects. But this project, like, keeps us alive for even the worst of worst droughts. I cannot imagine a drought long enough for this not to be sufficient, because the droughts on hard mode max out at about 30 days. And this is like a 60-day supply of water for the population of my size, maybe longer, like half a year's supply of water for a population of our size. So it's like, yeah, it's fine. It's overkill. This is absolutely overkill, I would say. And that's fine by me. Overkill's fine. Will I be keeping the curved staircase? No, the curved staircase is only in place so that it can blast the remaining sections. Eventually, it will just not be curved. Let's get dirt excavation bag on. Sorry to get you injured. Probably haven't even recovered yet. We got plenty of bombs, plenty of extract. At some point I'll be able to pause that stuff, but not quite yet. And then after one more platform, we'll have physical access to these 3 sites, and then I'll blast all of this down in one run with a bunch of, like, 3 deep explosions, and then all that will be left is these 2 sections. So I'll remove this platform, put a 2 depth, remove this platform and this stair, and put a 2 depth, and blast the rest of this. So, all the remaining terrain can be blasted, and then these 2 sections can be blasted once this stairway goes all the way down. So 100% of this can be blasted with this pathing I've built. It was not well planned this way, but it did end up working, so it's fine. And then once the blasting is done, I'll pivot and start working towards finishing this project entirely so that I can focus on other things, because this has been one lengthy project. So now these explosives are pathable, and they are highest priority. And then I'll put explosives here on normal, on high priority. Yes, the beavers try to keep the houses full. Oh, I ran out of water here. Got it. We are in drought again. We're in lack of water, so I'm going to fill up my large water pump. And, oh, I just noticed your message. Yeah, I noticed, right, and you noticed. So we had pumped out everything that was available on the West River, and there's no way to refill that, obviously. Actually, that's not entirely true. With that said, you can hypothetically pump water at a bad tide. It just slows down the water pumping speed. So I could run this bad tide water through this river and keep pumping. Just these pumps I would need a lot more pumpers to make up the same amount of water, which is why I haven't been pumping water out of bad tide streams. You could, though. Just inefficiently. I think it was important to note that, though. That you can use bad tide water as a water source. It just is not a very good one. Alright, so for these dynamite, I'm going to blow them all up at once they're all laid. So I'm going to wait until they're all placed. Yeah. And our dehydration issues should be fixed pretty soon. I'm going to prioritize by well, I don't have any haulers, so... Do I? No, I don't. But yeah, everyone's hydrating. We're okay. Jonah, thank you for the resub. I could have... So, these platforms, I made out of platforms, not dirt, because dirt would have displaced the total volume of the tank. I could have put dirt here, though. That could have been dirt, but, like, I've got a near infinite supply of planks, so it's just like, I picked one at random. Alright, all the beavers that are currently dehydrated are dehydrated just because they hadn't actually traveled to a tank, because there's now 100 water in the tanks, so the problem isn't the supply, it's the fulfillment. Yeah, it goes underwater place. Dynamite still thirsty. Yeah, they don't drink from open sources of water. And honestly, I'm kind of happy about that, because like then the beavers would like drink bad tide and die. All right, so bad tide ended. I'm gonna keep the water the way it is right now, because I need to flush out all the nasty before we let the clean water through. Oh, I didn't realize this was all done. Sweet. This will go to 1 or 0. This will go to, I don't know, 0.15. And this will go down now that we've flushed all the bad tide. Actually, let's stay at 1. We'll keep letting it go west. I wouldn't mind filling this back up with clean water, but it's now that we are nearly done with this project, it's far less needed. All right, so all this is laid. Badoom. Okay, looks good. This should be set to 0.95 because I'm not ready to fill water back up in here yet. And I would actually go so far as to say, as long as this... I'm going to stop diverting to the east because it doesn't need more water right now. It's like filled up, I topped it up. So we'll keep the water west and south. Oops, I removed some of the resources. Oh well. All right, this is the last blasting. And now we can path all the way down without the original ramp, which, as soon as this is built, means we can start to, well, hold on. At height 4, no, let me rethink this. At height 4, we're going to want to pump, right? Because at height 4, we could... So, if I want to pump at height 4, it should look... Actually, I'm going to do it here. So, we stay at height 4-1, and then we go down. So the reason for this is eventually, if we want to be able to stepwell pump, we're going to want a large pump able to be built at height 4, so that if the water level is really, really low, we can still pump water. So I'll blast that, build the stilts up, and then the staircase continues. I'm glad I thought of that now. So I'll prioritize the stairs. The platform for the pump, far less important. There we go. And then I'll want, like, water storage close by, but I'll probably maybe use zip lines or something like that when all's said and done. Why am I going all the way down? Counter question. Why not? Not trying to be rude, but, like, isn't more water better? I can't think of a meaningful reason why more water would be worse. To be blunt. Okay, this river has been displaced. Cool. So let's raise this up to 1.9 and lower this to 295, and then it should start flowing into this again. Once it does, I'll pause this large water pump, resume these water pumps, and then phase out. Actually, I am ready to phase this out right now. Boom, let's do it. Once they start hauling this stuff away, I'll put the dirt down. Of which we have plenty of, so let's pause that. Okay, cool. So now we have pumpable water over here again. And irrigation, because, like, the dandelions and blueberries were going to die eventually. Mostly the dandelions. Come on, haul that stuff away, guys. There we go. All right. Here we go. We'll do... Oops. Yeah, I'll rotate that. I'll just keep going like that. That's fine. Cool. And in this spot here... actually... We'll focus on this for now, but I'll build a platform for another well up top. Treat for the doggy. And then the last two little dynamites. Sweet. Did I raise this? Oh, this should be at 2.9. And this should be at 1.95. I got them reversed, and that's why this wasn't filling up. Beaver's injured. Oh, drought's coming. Well, it would be really awesome if I could get these walls built pre-drought. They're the highest priority, so, like, I suspect they will be. 'Cause we can really fill this bad boy up. Yeah, we are. Alright, let's start to do that. So, water height, 0. We're going to start filling up the tank. So, won't there be a level in the middle without pumps? Yes. Don't worry. I am not an idiot. I know how to count to 11 by 4s. I know. It's surprising. But I was born able, and I retained that ability. It's weird. Well, I wasn't born able. I take that back. I was born like you guys, unable to know anything. Because, you know, infancy, right? But, yeah. No, I know that it obviously needs another level, and I will build that. Does a 2-tier water pump water faster? Like, technically yes, but that's because it employs 3, not 1. And I'm actually going to do this. Let's see. So if the water pump is built here, the top one, this one. Pause. I am going to want to lay this out like this. Let's just keep using dirt. Actually hurts us a bit to get, but I'm going to want a path around it. And then I'm also going to want a path up to it. And this is why I called it a stepwell, because it's going to look like a stepwell when it's done. And then once that's built, that will reach down to this level, and then I'll build another platform here to... Or actually, maybe I'll build a platform here to match the other level. I'll tackle that project once, you know, other stuff is done. Alright. Let's start. This tank can be pretty much filled to the brim. So let's do it. Top this bad boy up. Because the last dirt piece is about to get plopped. Oh boy. Look at that go. And if I wanted that to go faster, I could just, you know, let's do it. Full river right. Tally ho. Flow, flow, flow. Now the big ticket here is eventually if I set this to like 1.9, this will fill up and never overfill, right? Because as soon as it hits like 1.95, it starts flowing down. So this will fill up to 100% capacity, or whatever, 99.9% capacity, but never overflow. That might not be true with only 2 floodgates, though. I'm not really sure if 2 floodgates can handle the full volume of this water source, but like, you get the concept at least. Oh my god, it's filling fast. And I also designed it in such a way that it does fill fast. I'm curious, will it be able to accept 100% of the flow? If it overflows, you know, no biggie. Let's check it. So we have all the water being diverted east. And it should spill over. I'm hoping it spills over here before it spills over here. But only time will tell. Pick that stuff up, guys. Lazy. Well, here's the mega drought. How? Oh, is it spilling over? Oh, okay. No, that's my fault. I forgot that this floodgate was not up at 100 because we built it and like set and forget. That's why it never spilled over. So we were allowing it out of the map. So as predicted, it worked. No, it spills over. So we might need another double floodgate if we want this to be perfect. But obviously our water is at capacity. I think it's safe to say. So I might want another double floodgate if I want to handle that. But, you know, I'm happy with it. It worked out well. So this is a 20-day drought. It is by far the longest drought we've had so far. And I am quite pleased that I have this mega project done. One of the advantages of having this drought is I have a massive amount of water here, even though it's down one level. A massive amount of water here. Actually, it's not down one level. It's like at almost full. To be able to release to this river. And then this thing. So, like, yeah, this is not an issue. We have so much water for this drought. The last piece of the stepwell, obviously, is, so, I kind of doubt that this platform will ever be needed for water. Because if we're ever, like, 4 units of water left, like, it's been a hell of a drought. So what I really want to do is I want to prioritize building this. And I need more dirt for that. But this is the big project, getting this stepwell going. Actually, I can't see... Okay, it's all prioritized. Good. This is the big project to get the stepwell going so that we have just easy access pumpable water with no issues. So go Beavs! Do I have 100% employment? Oh my god, that's unusual. And it'll be something like this. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. I don't know why I'm making boop noises. Can't help it. And now, it will be easy. And, you know, the other thing I could do as like a nice to have, once I have the science, is to get the giant tank storages. And I could place dirt down here. And then, like, platforms so I don't block the stairs. And have, like, 2 giant tanks here, one on either side, fed by this pump. And, like, I probably will never have to set up another pump in my life. Because 2 massive tanks, plus a pump, plus a water supply that goes 11 deep, or 10 deep and 11 wide and 11 long. Like, that's... Yeah, I can't even see the bottom of this water. It's... And it could get deeper, obviously. Right? If we kept raising the level of the levees or whatever. But I don't think it's necessary. It's already stupid amounts of water. I don't need to be stupider. Yeah, the dirt factory will overflow the hospitals, I know. They're gonna get injured like crazy. Alright, you guys are fired. I totally forgot about you. There's not a need for bad tide pumpers. Or bad water pumpers when there's no bad water. What got... Oh, frickin' pine. Pine you! We are going to need to make planks again. Look at some of the additional lumber mills up and running. We ran our planks low because of all the projects we've been working on. This platform project obviously took a hell of a lot of planks. And massive staircase. But I'm pretty sure this project will be done before this river runs dry. And this river, I don't think would ever run dry in 20 days because we can supply it from this aquifer. So this is like a overkill, so overkill. But I love overkill. I'm all for it. How much water pressure could these dirt walls take? Infinite, fortunately. So the soil needed for the pump is there. Might as well plop that bad boy in. Plas dirt. High-tech dirt. That's what I'm going to call it. Plas dirt. This, obviously, is old school projects that are not needed anymore. I might as well group the cost. Because I see that these are mostly logs, not planks, but, like, we might as well just throw them back into storage. And, in fact, I'm going to go so far as to say, let's not cut any trees down for a little bit so that I can remove a lot of these old wooden levee things. Because, yeah, I'll get my money back. And then, normally I would pull for this, but I don't think I'm going to do this time. I'm going to prioritize setting up the terrain for the triple high pumps. Or the triple big vats, or whatever we'll call it. So, I just didn't want to block stairway access. So it'll be set up like that. Hella water supply. I'm the water king. Now, with a 20-day drought, we'll also see something else that's unique to this drought, which I can actually avoid. 20 days is how much it takes for a one-depth block that's 100% filled to dry 100%. Which would dry out our riverbed completely. But in this case, I can stop that from happening by adding a little water midway so it doesn't go full dry. So I'm going to let these locks here and here release their water into the main river to keep the main river from going fully empty. And this is a project that we can do, like after I'm done with the big stepwell project, I can set up an irrigation project next. I think that's not unreasonable. Ooh, I am unemployed. Okay, let's observatory in a drought. Why the heck not? Might as well get that science rolling, because I don't think I needed 10 haulers. Yeah, it's about 5% of a elevation per day. Exactly. That's, of course, assuming that you are not pumping it. So, this river is obviously going to run out well before the West River, because I'm actively pumping it. But I can refill it from the aquifer. Sloppily, but like, whatever. I don't really care if it's sloppy. All right, let's get that water pump up, and then I am going to get one of the stacks up. So the purpose of this is so that we can unlock the large tank, and I want to put a large tank here once we have the science. All right, so this is done. Sweet. I'm going to pause it because I don't need... There's nowhere to store the water nearby yet. Actually, maybe I'll put the large tank facing inwards like that. So I'll just landfill these two so there's not, like, holes. It's what is a little bit more dirt. You know, whatever. And that way the path to the tanks is shorter. Doing the dirty deed? Oh, God. Yeah. We'll go with yes. I'm going to have to keep an eye. I don't think our gravity batteries won't be able to supply the observatory, but I should keep an eye on it anyway, just to make sure that, like, we're producing enough power to keep things running smoothly. Water supply is getting low? It sure is. So let's unpause this one. Let 2 people pump the West River. Once this is done, like, I won't have a water supply issue, because we'll have a water pump next to 2 massive storages and a near infinite water supply for even the worst of droughts. Engineering problems for the future. All right, looking at my wood supply, let's recoup some of this wall. So this is the water diverter that I made, like, on the first stream, which is not needed anymore. It does nothing for us, really. So, the reason why I fired all my woodcutters is I knew I had all this material here just sitting waiting to be recouped. And it decays if you have nowhere to store it, so I didn't want it to decay. You know, so I stopped cutting down trees so that we could put it somewhere. Okay, I absolutely have the science for the giant storage. One thing I did not check is if I have the materials. 60 gears I have exactly. 80 planks I have, and then 30 metal I have. Cool, so we can make one of these once I've got the dirt underneath it built. And that is a massive tank. So it's 2 water per day per person. So let's say our population is like 50. It isn't, but let's say it's 50. The 1,200 water that can be stored there, you know, is like 24 days of water when that tank's filled up. So even if we have 0 water in here, if the tank's filled, that's like almost the worst drought. So 2 tanks filled is like, no matter how bad the drought is, it's survivable. That's why I'm eventually going to have double tanks. Can you name beavers? You can, but they, like, go through their life cycle fast enough that I'm not raffling them off. Because they would just... They would die off before... We're on... I mean, I'm on, like, generation 12 or something. I don't know how many generations have gone, but you can see the log up here. Born, die of old age, born, die of old age. Yeah, there's no point in naming anyone, because they're not persistent enough to stick around. Go. Unpause. Highest priority. I would like to start getting my water from the big tanks and, like, phase out all water collection everywhere else. So I'll fill this river back up for the funsies, really, more than anything else. And let's fire up the smelter. Let's fire up the gear workshops. And I'm rolling in science. Question for you guys. What should I spend next? So there's, what next big project should I undertake? So here's some options that I foresee as worthy of being taken. I could focus on well-being. I could focus on irrigation. Or focus on logistics. Those are the only three options I'm willing to offer. But you can pick. And what that would look like. Well-being. Well-being would be, just to spell it out, trying to fulfill as much of this as possible. So grilled chestnuts, spatterdock, bread, cattail crackers, maple pastries, contemplation spots, agoras, dance halls, aesthetics, awe, fun, books. That would be the focus. Irrigation would be building up a giant water tank like the one we have here, and probably setting it up with a with like a throttling valve so that it can release water from its bottom to continually feed some sort of irrigation canal, probably an artificial one because the natural ones are not efficient, to supply our farms and forestry with water, even in the worst of droughts. And focusing on logistics would mean, and that's a smaller project, but focusing on logistics would mean setting up zip lines and zipline beams and pylons so that our beavers can traverse the map quickly, connecting places that need to be connected, like badwater pumps to the medium tank, or scavenger flags to the stockpile for scrap metal, things of that nature, to try to make the area more interconnected and convenient. So, yep, you can vote on those three options, and the research that I'm going to spend will correlate to those options. So if you vote for logistics, I'll get zip lines. If you vote for irrigation, I'll get screw pumps, so on and so forth. Where'd all my gears go? I had 60 gears. Oh, they were being delivered. Okay. I was like, I had 60 gears, and I only have 30 in the large tank and 0 in storage? No, they were just in transit. Are tunnels viable for irrigation? I would do irrigation tunnels, yeah. One of the advantages of irrigation tunnels is it maximizes your surface area that is, like, irrigated. So I would have subterranean irrigation tunnels, if that was to be voted on. Thank you for tuning in to Timberborn 1.0, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rodamont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rodamont.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow beavers.